Assalamualaikum. In this video, we will explain about our experience visiting Mocha Plastic Industry. Our group member consists of 5 students. From the left, Arifah, Liyana, Muhammad Iskandar, Adry, Muhammad Ilman Hafiz, and me, Hanis, Nadirah. On 30 January 2023, we visited the factory which is located at number 29 Jalan Sungai Batu, Klang, Selangor. Next, I will explain the details of the company. Mocha Plastic Industries is a reputable manufacturer of plastic injection molding products. The company was founded by Mr. Tan Moh Ching in February of 2004. The company are responsible in supplying the component for automotive, electrical, and home appliances. Their customers are reputable manufacturers such as Proton, Bordua, Highcom, and Azharan.
Hi, so I'm going to explain about the manufacturing process. The manufacturing process that was used in this company is blow molding process. Blow molding is a manufacturing process that forms hollow plastic parts by combining heat and pressure. Some examples of blow molded products are small custom plastic bottles and containers. There are 3 types of blow molding process, which is injection blow molding, extrusion blow molding, and injection stretch blow molding. The type of blow molding techniques used by this company is continuous extrusion blow molding. Next, blow molding process consists of molding machine, preform, molds, and compressed air. Blow machine moldings heats the plastic before forming it into the mold and cooling it to hold the final shape. The parison or preform is a tube-like piece of plastic with a hole in one end through which compressed air can pass. Compressed air is used to inflate the parison or preform. The mold forms the outside shape of the products. Continuous extrusion blow molding method is where a plastic tube is extruded and then cut into a preform. Extrusion blow molding are generally much less expensive than injection blow molding and can be produced in much shorter period of time. Extrusion blow molding is appropriate for smaller runs. In this company, they produce 85 pieces of bottle per hour. However, these are steps of continuous extrusion blow molding process. Firstly, the preform is placed between the half of the mold. Then, the mold closes around the preform. After that, the molten preform is pinched off and inflated by A+. Lastly, the mold is opened and finished piece is ejected.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today I had the opportunity to visit a company that specializes in producing soap bottles. So as you can see from this demonstration, the product on the left is the raw material before it goes through the treatment process, while the right one is the finished product. So the company I visited takes great care in the production process of their soap bottles. So they use high quality materials such as HDPE, which stands for high dense polyethylene, and advanced machinery to ensure that every bottle meets the high quality standards. So now we go to the problem phase, which is the machine breakdown. So the thing that we focus on is the setup machine. So one of the things that impressed me the most was the rejection rate of their products. So the company's maximum rejection rate is around 3% only, which is a testament to the quality of the product and the care they put into each and every one of them. So the company has a strict quality control process in place, which includes visual inspection. The team always checks for any scratches on the product body and checks the thickness of the product to make sure it meets their standards. And also they also run a drop test on the product to check for any leaking. So the test is crucial to help them to identify any issues with the product before it reaches to the customer. So, but then the company also has the main causes of the defects to each of their product, which is the first one is the insufficient blowing time and using a combination of materials that are not suitable. but then they are constantly working to improve their process and ensure that their products meets the highest standard. The problem phase, which is the defects. So shots, jetting, flash are the common defects in injection blowing molding. So shots occur due to the restriction flow within the mold caused by narrow discs, blocked air pockets, or insufficient injection pressure. While the jetting, in another hand, is a result of uneven solidification process, and it occurs when the initial jet of a resin enters the mold and has enough time to begin setting before the cavity fills. And last but not least is the flash. Flash is a defect that occurs when some molten plastic escapes from the mold cavity through the budding line or injector pin locations. So these defects are caused by various factors but can be avoided by the proper maintenance of the mold, correct setting of machine parameters, and careful monitoring of the process. Right?
Okay, thank you, Adri, for that thorough explanation on the effects and problem faced when handling the operation, which of course comes to question whether the operation is actually the best that can be used to produce this product, this plastic bottle. So to discuss that, we can compare the process used with other plastic molding processes. In this case, 5 are given: extrusion, compression, injection, rotational, and blow molding. So we start with extrusion molding. This process is done by pushing the material through a die, causing the material to take on the shape of the die. And from the process alone, we can obviously see that the process is only good for parts with a constant cross-section. So while it is good for hoses, pipes, or gutters, it isn't suitable for the product that we chose, which are plastic bottles, since it has a varying cross-section. So extrusion molding doesn't work. How about compression molding? Compression molding is used to create products such as rubber boots, car tires, or electrical casings, in which the process used is by compressing the object between two dies, causing the object to take in the shape of the die. And this doesn't work because of the geometry of the bottle that we're trying to produce, which has a hollow part and a small neck, which doesn't work for compression molding. And the same goes for injection molding, which is done by injecting the material into a mold. This would require some sort of mechanism to create a hollow part with a small neck, which is just so isn't possible without extra steps later in the manufacturing process. All three, extrusion, compression, and injection molding, doesn't work because of the geometry of the product. But however, rotational and blow molding is friendly and can be used to produce hollow objects. So rotational molding is done by rotating a mold which contains the molten material, causing the centrifugal forces to force the material to the edges of the mold and geometry, creating a hollow product. So both rotational and blow molding can be used to produce this bottle. However, since the bottle is a cheap product, it would be best to have a similarly cheap production process to save on cost. And between these two, between blow and rotational molding, rotational molding is more expensive because of the energy needed to rotate the mold versus blow molding's energy to only inject air into the mold. So in this case, for a cheap bottle that the company produces, the blow molding process is the best process that can be used. However, we can go even further and question whether within blow molding, other blow molding processes that are better than the ones that we use, which are extrusion blowing. So here we have 3 blowing processes, which are injection blowing, stretch blowing, and extrusion blowing. You can observe the processes by watching the video. I'll just explain the pros and cons of each processes. So injection blowing, first and foremost, has low wastage, has no weld line, and has high accuracy, which are positive traits that can be. However, it is costly and it is also unsuitable for bottles with handles because it requires the product to be expanded by blowing air, which for handles it might produce in defects such as short shots and others. How about stretch blowing? Stretch blowing has the same pros as injection blowing. However, it has a wider material selection since it doesn't rely on the expansion properties of the materials itself. It can just stretch the material into the desired length. However, it also has the same cons as injection blowing, in which it is expensive and it is unsuitable for bottles with handles because of the same reasons. So finally, extrusion blowing, it is cheap, it is easy to use, and it can be used for products with handles. However, it has a visible weld line, it has high wastage, and it requires post-processing to get rid of additional materials. So between these 3, Just by virtue of the geometry of the product itself, extrusion blowing is the best process, but it does come with its cons, which are visible weld lines, wastage, and post-processing. So how do we deal with that? How do we combat the cons that comes with the extrusion blowing process? But to do that, we need to identify the problems that comes with the process first, which one of them being excess waste. Because of the need to trim excess part of the materials, this comes as wastage because the materials waste can be used in the next cycle to produce more products. Following that is production speed. This can be reduced by investing in automation, such as automatic trimmers instead of manual workers, and also adjusting the extrusion speed of the plastic to produce more products in a shorter time. Uneven quality is also a problem that we may face, and this can be avoided by carrying out quality control tests such as the drop test and the leak test, and also adhere to standards and specifications properly. And following that, we have also the problem of defects or machine breakdowns, which can be avoided by regularly doing maintenance and also calibrating the machine properly before usage. And finally, we have one of the more important one, which are the safety of the process, which can be ensured by setting rules to adhere during the operating procedure and also wearing proper equipment such as PPE jackets or gloves.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today I will be presenting about the CQI or Continuous Quality Improvement. Continuous Quality Improvement is a management philosophy that utilizes a continuous cycle of reviewing processes with the goal of gathering data and using it to improve the overall process. So in the manufacturing of soap bottle using the manufacturing process of blow molding, CQI can be applied to improve the quality of the end product and the efficiency of the manufacturing process. The blow molding process involves heating plastic pellet and blowing them into a mold to form the desired shape of the bottle. CQI can be used to identify and eliminate the sources of variation or defects in the blow molding process, such as incorrect temperature setting or poor quality of raw materials. One way to implement the CQI in the blow molding process is by using the dimming cycle, which is a continuous quality improvement model consisting of 4 key stages, which is first, plan, do, study, and act. In the planning stage, the organization can set quality goals and objectives for the blow molding process. Meanwhile, in the do stages, the organization can implement changes to the process based on the data that was gathered during the study stage. Next, in the study stage, the organization can gather data on the performance of the blow molding process and analyze it to identify areas that can be improved. And finally, in the act stages, the organization can implement the changes identified in the study to improve the process. So, in the case of the soap bottle, the dimming cycle can be applied to improve the quality of the product and the efficiency of the manufacturing process. The process is of continuous improvement, allows organization to aim for excellence as it always striving to improve and reach a higher level of performance. That's all from me. Thank you.